Hi there and welcome back to another NJS instructional video. Now we are nearly at the 2-hour mark of our pork rib cook. Our Kamado is holding a nice stable temperature of around 125 degrees Celsius or 260 degrees Fahrenheit. Now we haven't checked these pork ribs, so let's have a quick look before we go back 2 nights where it all started in the kitchen. Now it is 2 nights before and we have here a really nice set of pork ribs, and this is just over 1.5 kilos, and we actually have 2 sets in the one packet. Now we're going to open up this packet, wash the ribs under cold water, give them a pat dry, we'll do any necessary trimming and then start dry rubbing. Now we will do a slight trim of our ribs, so we'll remove some of these thinner edges which will just burn up, and also clean up a little bit of the fat on the underside. We will leave the membrane in place, however. And we'll do the exact same thing with this set of ribs also. Now I'm not overly concerned about the shape. I know if I did have an offset smoker and aerodynamics was a key part of that, we would probably trim it a little bit more aggressively. Because we are cooking on the Kamado, I'm not too fussed, and I actually would rather have more of the meat on the ribs than less. Also, I'm not overly concerned if there's a little bit too much fat on the underside. That will render down and will give us a nice juicy set of ribs. Now that our ribs are all trimmed up, we will flip them over. And for our dry rub, we'll keep it really simple. First layer will be of salt, and then we'll use the 4 Sauceman pork rub. Now we'll do the underside first, flip them over, do the presentation side last. And also we won't be needing to use a binder. That is purely optional. The ribs are kind of sticky, so that'll help our dry rub adhere to the surface. Now that our pork ribs are all seasoned up, we'll put them on a bread rack over a tray and put those in the refrigerator until we're ready to cook. Like that. Now we've already set up our Kamado with some really good quality lump charcoal. Now this will be more than sufficient for our anticipated 4-hour cook for these pork ribs. So let's light up our charcoal. We'll preheat our Kamado, get some really good heat soak into it, and that'll take anywhere from 30 minutes to 45 minutes. And about 5 minutes before our cook, we'll place some cherry smoking chunks on top to give us a nice smoke flavour through our ribs. We'll place our heat deflector plates back in position. We have here a drip pan, which will also double up as our water tray after. Place our grills back on. And I'm also going to place the cherry smoking chunks here so they can preheat, so by the time we put them on, they'll ignite pretty quickly. We'll close the lid and open the top and bottom vents fully. Now we'll give our Kamado about half an hour to 45 minutes to get some really good heat soak in that ceramic, and that'll give us some really nice stable temperatures. Now it's important we keep an eye on our temperature gauge. We don't want to overshoot our temperature, but rather bring it up slowly. And we're targeting a cooking temperature today of 120 degrees Celsius or 250 degrees Fahrenheit. So we have good heat soak in our Kamado. We are at 140 degrees Celsius, so about 20 degrees higher than what we had hoped. However, once we put our pork ribs on, as well as some water in our water tray, that will reduce, and we've also reduced the top and bottom vent settings considerably. Now we'll give this about 5 minutes and then we'll put our pork ribs on to cook. So the temperature is just over 125 degrees Celsius, around that 260 degrees Fahrenheit. It's time now to place our pork ribs on. Now we'll allow the pork ribs to smoke for about 2 hours uncovered, and we're not going to spritz them in the meantime. At the 2-hour mark, we'll wrap our ribs in foil, as well as apply a coat of barbecue sauce over the top. And then we'll allow them to cook for another 2 hours wrapped. And our temperature has now stabilized at 120 degrees Celsius or 250 degrees Fahrenheit, and we'll hold it there for the next 4 hours. And as you can see, we have a nice smoky color throughout our pork ribs. We're about to wrap them in foil shortly. Before we do that, let's quickly check the internal temperature. Just shy of around 59 degrees Celsius there. And here it's actually nearly 66 degrees Celsius. So let's get these ribs onto the foil. We'll baste them with some barbecue sauce and then put them back on for another 2 hours. Now I'm going to cheat slightly and use some already existing barbecue sauce. So for this cook, I'm just going to use the Stubbs Sticky Sweet barbecue sauce. And I'm just going to baste that all over the meat, like that. So now that our ribs are wrapped and back on the Kamado, we'll let these cook for another 2 hours. And we have a really nice clean smoke coming out of our Kamado. Now we are 15 minutes out from the 4-hour mark, and I just would like to show you the top and the bottom vent settings. Our Kamado is holding a really nice stable temperature of around 125 degrees Celsius or 260 degrees Fahrenheit. So let's start looking at the top vent. You can see that I have the daisy wheel ever so slightly open, and I probably have a pinky finger width all around in terms of opening. And with the bottom vent setting, you can see that I probably have maybe about 2 to 3 millimeters of opening. And that's all that's needed for our Kamado in order to get enough airflow to burn that charcoal and to maintain that really nice low temperature. So we're fast approaching that 4-hour mark. Let's do an internal temperature check of our pork ribs and also a tenderness check. Now from a temperature perspective, they're well and truly done. And from a tenderness perspective, it's very easy to penetrate through the flesh. So these are ready now to take off. We'll let them rest for about 5 or 10 minutes and then we'll start cutting them up. Moment of truth, let's unwrap these ribs. Oh, they look sensational. And they smell really good too. So let's cut into these ribs. Nice. If only you could smell what I smell here, but these ribs look really, really good. And we have a really nice cherry smoke colour all around the top and the sides there. So let's bite into it and try it and see how they are. Wow. Extremely tender. It's just separating from the bone. Now I'm just going to grab the other set of ribs as well. So I'll just move those to the front. Let's cut into this as well and just see if we get a very consistent result as well. And that we do. Very nice. Let's take a bite into these as well. Beautiful. They're so tender and they're just coming off the bone so easily. Now these ribs have turned out very well and I have some very hungry kids that are eager to get into this. Now let's fast forward to tomorrow where we do a post-cook review and then come back to today. Now it is a day after our pork ribs cook, so let's check out our Kamado and especially let's have a look at the charcoal that remains. Now just a small disclaimer here, I did end up cooking another set of ribs on top of the ribs that I actually had recorded for this video. So all up I'd use the charcoal for about 8 hours. Additionally I also removed the drip pan and got that cleaned up so it doesn't go moldy in our Kamado. And not too surprisingly, there's still a fair bit of charcoal in some chunks that actually haven't even been or hardly been burned for our cook. Now don't forget, I did end up using the Kamado for 8 hours. So let's go through this charcoal and just see what's left. And the amount of charcoal left, which is still quite a fair bit, is a testament to the thermal efficiency of a ceramic style barbecue like a Kamado. Now from a taste experience, our ribs turned out incredibly well. So we had a really nice smoke flavour through them, we had some really good taste. Probably that barbecue sauce glaze that I did during the wrap, I think I can work on that a little bit better. However, the end product was really nice, juicy, almost fall off the bone. Now some people have different preferences of how they like their ribs. Some want the meat to fall off the bone and separate quite easily. Others like to have a bit of a bite into it and still have that tenderness. So now that we've done our post-cook review, let's rejoin the present day. So there you have it. That's how you can make some delicious pork ribs on the Kamado. I really hope you found this video informative. Don't forget to like it, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and hit that bell notification icon. Thanks for watching.